Yesterday, you learned about that what is deadlock, how deadlock occur, and also in the graph, you know how to explain that what is happening in the deadlock. Today, the things you need to learn, which is that how can you prevent the deadlock or how can you stop the deadlock. The thing is that as in our computer operating system, we need to run a lots of hidden process. If you go to the control panel, you can see there are a lots of hidden processes are there, and all of the hidden processes are in the running state. Means at the same time or at a single time, the processor actually run a lots of process that we don't know. As a user, we know the process which is that we run as a end user. So for example, now I am using Microsoft PowerPoint and Google Classroom to run your class. Whenever it is about the processor not only run these two processes, it also run a lots of hidden process. The thing is that whenever the processor at a single time run a lots of hidden process, at that point it's very hard for the processor to provide all the resource to the processes, because already you know that whenever a process is run, it needs some resources. Without the resource, the process won't be able to run the process individually. And from the deadlock previous chapter, you learned that whenever two or three processes need the same resource, but that resource is occupied by the another process at that point of time, they are actually at the waiting state, and when the resource is free or resource is released at that point of time, the processor has the opportunity to get the resource for the next process and complete the execution of that task. The thing is that if the processor or if any of the process, say for example, in the previous slide, the last diagram, in this diagram you see that each of the process hold a resource and each of the process need a resource which is sold by the other process. So at that point of time, here deadlock cannot be removed or deadlock cannot be prevented, because all of the process are actually in the waiting state because of the resource. So at that point of time, there are some steps or some process that how can you prevent the deadlock. The first thing you can do to prevent the deadlock, which is the mutual exclusion. Now, mutual exclusion means that to do sacrifice. Your processor must have the ability to do the sacrifice for the other process. Say for example, you and your friend both went to the library and both of you want to read the same book, which is operating system. But in the library there is only one available operating system book. Now at that point of time, whether your friend let you to read the book first, then your friend will read the book, or otherwise you will let your friend to read the book first, then you will read the book. That is actually called the mutual exclusion. So mutual exclusion means that whether you or your friend will need to do the sacrifice. Otherwise, all of the processes will be in the waiting state. None of the process can be complete its execution or complete its tasks. Second characteristics or second option is hold and wait. Hold and wait also related with our mutual exclusion. That is, so you and your friend went to library, read the same book, so there is only one book available. So you do the mutual exclusion and you let your friend to read that specific book. So whenever so at that point of time, as you let your friend to read the book for that specific time, and what you do, you will actually hold and wait. So you will wait when your friends will complete to read the book, and after your friend complete to read the book, then you get the opportunity to read the book. That is actually called hold and wait. So whenever the processor do the mutual exclusion at that point of time, the other process will be at the waiting state. That when the another process will complete the execution, it release the resource and the process have the opportunity to use that specific resource. So guys, in this slide, if you have any question, you can ask. Then no permission. So what is actually, how can you use no permission for prevent the deadlock? If a process that is holding some resource request another resource that cannot be immediately allocated to it, then all resources currently being held are released. Permitted resources are added to the list of resources for which the process is waiting, and process will be restarted only when it can regain its old resource as well as the new ones that it is requesting. No permission means that in this diagram you can see that process 1 hold resource 1 but process 1 request for resource 2. Process 2 hold resource 2 but is request for resource 3. Process 3 hold resource 3 but is request for resource 4. And process 4 hold resource 4 and it request for resource 1. That means each of the process hold one resources and each of the process also request for another resource which is occupied by the another processes. At that point of time, all of the processes are in the waiting state. None of the process cannot be complete its tasks. Now, whenever you are using no permission opportunity to figure it out the deadlock at that point of time, the computer will restart the processes. The processor will restart the processes and it start again with the process that is hold the resource and also the resource it is requesting. Means, say for example, now I am taking your class through Google Meet. But if Windows Auto Update occurs, so at that point of time, what will happen? Automatically, it will stop my all work of the user program and I auto move on for the Windows Auto Update. After Windows Auto Update is completed, after that time, I will go back to my class again and I can take your class again. Same thing which is happening here, that is whenever your processor find out that all of the process are stacked and all of the process are need any of the resources which is actually needed when it want to run at that point of time, the processor actually go to reset the process again. And after reset, it will allow one process to hold two resources at a second and complete its tasks at first. So at that point of time, the other process will be at the waiting state and when the priority based process complete its execution, then it move on for the next process. And the last thing, which is known as the circular wait. Now what is actually circular wait? Already from the previous class you learned what is circular wait, that one by one each of the process get the opportunity to use the resource. A good example is playing musical chair. So whenever you are playing musical chair, so at that point of time, or musical pillow or musical instrument, at that point of time, each and everyone have the opportunity to get the object at your hand. That is the way that you can actually do the circular wait. So whenever each of the process need the same resources, so the processor allow according to the priority base that which process will use which resource at that time and which process will use resource the later on. So according to that way, the processor make a circle, and according to the circular wait, the process actually one by one, each of the process have the opportunity to use the resource. So guys, up to this slide, if you have any question you can ask. Now, deadlock avoidance. So for avoid the deadlock, first one is the deadlock prevention. Deadlock prevention means that already deadlock happened. Now how can you remove the deadlock? That is called deadlock prevention. Now deadlock avoidance. Deadlock avoidance means that deadlock is not occurred at all, and if that and you have to be very much concerned about deadlock, that you don't allow your process to having a deadlock or the processes to having the deadlock. That is actually called the deadlock avoidance. So the simplest and the most useful model requires that each process declare the maximum number of resources of each type that may need it. So the easiest way to avoid deadlock, first thing is that each of the process which will be in the running state from the ready state, they will declare previously that how many minimum number of resource or the maximum number of resource they needed. They will say that my process 1 need maximum 2 resource, process 3 need maximum 5 resource, process 5 need maximum 4 resource. Then the deadlock avoidance algorithm dynamically examine the resource allocation state to ensure that there can never be a circular wait. So there is a deadlock algorithm, which is the Banker's algorithm. Next class you will learn about Banker's algorithm in details, that how do you calculate the Banker's algorithm. So deadlock prevention algorithm is actually the Banker's algorithm, and that Banker's algorithm actually check out dynamically that which process actually need the resources right now. According to the priority base, they provide some priority. According to the priority base, say for example, there are 3 processes, process 1, process 2 and process 3. Each of the process actually need the same resource. So at that point of time, that algorithm dynamically actually check out that which process is the higher priority. So it allow that higher priority process to run that with the resource. So at that point of time, no circular wait actually will be happen. Resource allocation state is defined by the number of available and allocated resources and the maximum demands of the process. So resource allocation state means that it defines that there should be a table in Banker's algorithm, and in that algorithm it gives the information that which process need how much number of resources. The thing is that each and every process does not need the same number of maximum resource allocation. Some process can need one resource only, some process can need two resource only, some process can be needed 10 resource. So it is depend on according to the process base. So for example, if you need to run um, NetBeans or Eclipse at that point of time, a specific and individual resource which is Java JDK, you definitely need it. Without that resource, your NetBeans or Eclipse won't be able to perform at your operating system. If you need to run Node.js or AngularJS or Vue.js at that point of time, you definitely need to install Node.js environment at your operating system. Without install the Node.js environment in your operating system at that point of time, it is not possible for you to run that AngularJS or Vue.js framework at your operating system or at your computer. So the thing is that processor actually have the list that which process needs what maximum number of resources. So according to it, the processor actually decide that which process will run first and which process will run later on. So guys, in this slide, if you have any question, you can ask. Then deadlock dictation. So how can you actually dictate the deadlock? Dictation means that, say for example, deadlock already happened. Now you need to figure out that whether the deadlock is happened or not. You don't understand that deadlock is happened or not. Dictation means that you have to find out whether deadlock is happened or not. Because you don't understand. That is called deadlock dictation. So it allows system to enter deadlock state, and that is a dictation algorithm, and that is the recovery scheme. First of all, it allows the system to enter the deadlock state. So it will, first of all, you have to enter the deadlock algorithm to figure it out whether the deadlock is happened or not. And you have to provide the dictation algorithm. There is another algorithm which is dictation algorithm, and it is actually dictate whether deadlock is happen or not. And if the deadlock is happen at that point of time, you have to cover the recovery scheme. Recovery scheme means that you have to figure it out that how can you recover the deadlock. So guys, up to this slide, if you have any question, you can ask. Nah. Serial 1.